comment. Yeah, I think Mark has hit upon a tremendous issue that needs to be addressed because it's a personal, individual situation that each person has to deal with, because the human heart is the problem. No matter what you say, the human heart is the problem. And when I talk about the human heart, I'm not talking about that pumping your chest. I'm talking about the mind. For out of it are the issues of life. Proverbs 4:23. In Matthew 15, Jesus talks about this is where hatred comes from. And this is where envy and jealousy and murder, all of this stuff starts in the head. And so if we're going to be changing, it cannot be done merely with and through mechanics, because you can change the mechanics, but you cannot change the mind just through a workshop. It has to be that this is how you do it. This is what we want you to do. But at the end of the day, it's about what's inside of here. If I look upon another human being as being less than me, if I think that that human being is not equal to me, and his life is not, or her life is not as valuable as mine, then it's easy for me to abuse that person and feel good about it, because I don't have the perspective that that person is equal in humanity. And so when I start looking at how we change people, I go back to the premise of Scripture. Obviously, that God created us all in his image, and that every person in God's sight is equal. In Acts 17, Paul says, God made all nations from one man. So whether we like it or not, we are all related. And that's something that we have to realize. And how do we get people to understand that? I think there has to be, whether a person believes in God or not, whether that person is an agnostic or atheist, there has to be some training from a biblical perspective on the dignity and the sanctity of human life. And so if I understand that every person is human and that every person's life is sacred as God said it is, then it changes my perspective when I approach a person. Am I going to take this life and make this life be less than my life? Or is this person's life equally as important as my life? And I'm going to approach that person with that understanding. So I look at things from a spiritual vantage point. And I understand that the externals are just those things that are the mechanics. But to truly affect change, you have to change the heart. And that goes back to what Mark said. You know, looking at self and examining self. What do you read? What do you think? What do you hear? How do you see people? It's a personal thing that change starts with me individually.